Hello everyone, welcome to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University. I am Dr. Kalavayanita, Assistant Professor, Journalism, Department of Mass Communications, Osmania University. In today's class, we are going to discuss about writing styles. What are writing styles? When we talk about television, we only talk about visuals, but how many of you really work on writing for television? Though you have support of visuals, you still need a support of proper writing. Writing for newspaper is different and for radio is different. But when you have a visual support, how should you write? That is what we need to learn in today's lesson. To begin with, we will talk about easy to listen formula. This is a technique that needs to be followed. What are the visual dimensions associated in writing for television? And then we will take one case study, a model news story that we always watch on television as an example to understand how media channels write so that you can practice upon that. Let us get started. As I have already told, television is your first job to make things clear. The second is to make people want to watch. The think of it is the way, and you are not writing an essay. You are having a conversation. When you are writing for television, first thing is you have to understand the medium itself. Television is a medium of visuals and you are not writing for an essay. When you write for an essay, you use different kind of words, but when you are writing for television, you have to write in terms of conversation. Then making it very simple with a everyday usage words, not something which is out of box, and keep sentences also very short. And probably you may be expert in language, so you may be tempted to use jargon. So using a jargon could create a barrier between you and your viewers. So always avoid them as much as possible. And always remember, no old fashioned languages that sounds like belonging to something like a textbook. Sometimes we do feel the content that was presented on the television is a textbook content. That is because you use such kind of words. So usage of words matters a lot. That's what it says. So writing way has to be in terms of spoken language. This is very, very important. The same content can be written in a textbook style and also can be presented in a spoken format. So it's important that you choose a spoken format rather than a writing format. Okay, though you are writing on a thing, and it gives a fresh and natural look also. That's very, very important. It should sound as if the person is talking to me rather than reading out the content. That is a very, very important thing to remember. And also remember, you have visuals on your hand. That's very, very important, and the pictures help the story. So you need not try something unique. You have the support of visuals. It's just that you have to support the visuals with some text that is matching with the content in a conversational style. When you combine powerful storytelling with clear and conversational writing, people will grab attention and they hold on to your TV. The ultimate goal of any script writer is to make your viewer hold on to your channel, and to make that you should be more closer in terms of your content and presentation, then your viewer will be with you without moving to the other channels. And one more thing, don't crowd your story with the details that do not matter, and if it is not important, it's always better to let it go. This is the temptation in writing. When you have lot of content, you would somehow try to fit in everything over there, but that sometimes can damage your content. Always important to let things go at times, even though you feel it is important, but if the story is not demanding, it's always better to avoid them. And then we talk about particular formula. This will help you out a lot in terms of writing your content. How? Let us see. Have you ever listened to a sentence so long and complicated that you zoned out? Sometimes we do see such kind of sentences in the newspapers. When we read a lengthy lines in a newspaper, we don't understand it so easily. The reason is because there is a formula associated here, and this was given by Professor I.F. Fang, figured out why that happens. He studied how words are used in television and newspapers. Even in newspapers also, majority of the time you prefer writing short sentences only. This is one of the formula that needs to be followed. Even in newspaper, there is something called like readability formula. So your audience must be able to read the content easily and will be able to easily register also. Similarly, here also easy to listen formula is something that is very important. And in this, he says something called like, a simple rule. If a sentence has more than 30 syllables, this is very important to register. It becomes hard to understand. More than 30 syllables if your sentence is having, audience will not be able to register the content. It's a very simple and easy example to remember. Now, so how do we keep it under 30 syllables? Let's break it down. So first of all, let me tell you what is a syllable. That makes job more easy. A syllable is a single sound or a beat in a word when we pronounce it, like a cat, rat. So there is only single syllable. Then this kind of syllables have a 0 scoring. If you have a 2 syllables, then you have a 1 scoring. This is what Professor Fang divided words into 4 different groups. So when you have a 1 syllable word, something like a hat, check, girl, you don't have a score there, which we consider as 0. Whereas you use 2 syllable words like bowler, hostess, then you have a 1 score. Like that, you have words like beautiful, democracy, where you have the words using 2 syllables, the score keep increasing. So in the pronunciation only, you will be able to understand whether the word is easily understandable or not. According to that, you have to place them and work. Add up these scores. If your sentence totals around 30 or less than 30, it is for each sentence, remember. And then it's easy to listen and also easy to understand. If crosses more than that, again you fall into difficulty. So always remember, using 17 to 20 words is a best policy for any sentence that you use. Do not use more than that, your audience won't be able to register. So breaking the sentence into shorter sentences makes the script more easy to understand and attractive for the audience also to remember. Then comes the visual dimension. Now, visual dimension is something that is very important in television. In television, not all the stories have a visuals. Now, suppose take an example of budget sessions. You have a live coming, it's happening in the parliament and you have the ministers talking continuously. You don't have much visuals there to support. No need for video clippings anymore because there's a content which is directly telecast. You can't add something or show the different angles of that. But here is where television makes it easy for everyone to understand. And of course, when we talk about budget kind of things, a lot of numbers, figures, maths and all that will be there. So you will see what the news channels usually do during that time is there is a budget session going on. You will also simultaneously see the panel discussion also will be happening, and they will be simplifying what the ministers are talking, what is happening over there. And sometimes they use graphics also to pop up showing the key numbers, which sector got what kind of priority, who is getting benefited out of budget, who is not getting benefited out of this, like that. Charts, pie diagrams and all that will be used. Even when there is no discussion, graphics alone can stand. That is an advantage that television has when compared with the other mediums, where you can demonstrate with the latest technology in animations how much is given to one sector and which state has got a lot of priority. With colorful graphs and pie diagrams, you can make it more easy for the audience to understand. It's need not always the visuals that support. Sometimes such kind of graphics and animations also help your content. So visual dimension, you have to think in how many directions you can present it. So it helps the average viewer to understand all such content. So let's the pictures do talking. So always remember that your pictures make a lot of noise and images speak loudly than script minimal. So picture always tells story about what the content. So don't crowd too many things and see there's a sync between the picture and the words that you are using. So, here is a model story that I am talking about. You have always see a anchor talking in a news studio, and then they give the lead which is 5 W's and 1 H, and then there is a voiceover starting with voiceover 1, 2, 3 based on the story importance. Sometimes you have the news reporters taking the sound bites of the people who are witness or interviewers and all that, and then they conclude the story. So, like this, a story has to be written. So, based on all these ways, there is something called like a news package, anchor visual, anchor bite. Like this, stories are divided whatever type of a story you give, but all of them have to be remembered with the easy to listen formula which is given by Professor I.F. Fang that we discussed, having only sentences with 30 syllables, not having too much of content and too many sentences, and having a live telecast with expert panels to simplify the visual dimensions of the content, and having a model story that we just discussed, how an anchor and voiceovers have to be combined together. Thank you so much for this lesson. We will meet in the next class.